Hey everybody, it's Friday Farm Vlog, and today we need to talk about why Calvin James is making that noise. So I found out the hard way this morning that Fancy Nancy is in full-blown heat. The bucks want to breed with her. So that means Fancy Nancy is for sure not pregnant. All her time spent with Rory, our breeding buck that we purchased to breed with her, did not end up in a successful pregnancy, which is really disappointing that we didn't get any babies out of that pairing. She hasn't had a noticeable heat cycle or shown any interest in any of these bucks for the past several months. So as usual this morning I fed her and the other girls, and then I came in with the bucks to check on them. I shut the gate, latched it, came in here, or at least I thought I did. I'm in here petting the boys, giving them their morning pets, and I hear a commotion behind me. I turn around and Fancy Nancy somehow got into the buck pen, and her son, Calvin James, was mounting her. So of course I quickly ran over, got him off of her. I don't know if it was a successful breeding since my back was turned when I heard the commotion, but I'm definitely concerned about inbreeding because that is her son. Now I'm not sure if when I shut the door and did the latch, if I didn't latch it completely, or if she was able to move the latch out of place to get the door open to get in. But either way, she was determined to get in here, and she did. And she was more than happy to immediately start breeding with her child, which is not what we want to happen here. Since we fell in love with her bucklings and Amelia's buckling, our plan was to keep them and bring in females for them to breed with in the future once they're big enough, not to keep them to breed with our goats that we have now that are related. However, after this morning, I have really had to take a step back and really look at what I'm doing here by keeping 3 related bucks when all of my females are related to these 3. Goats being really good escape artists, especially Fancy Nancy. She is like the queen of escaping. It definitely worries me about the potential for inbreeding. So all day Fancy Nancy has been at the gate and wagging her tail, flagging at the boys, and the boys have been yelling at her and shaking their tongue at her. They're peeing on their beards. They are very much hoping that they will get the opportunity to breed. Now Amelia Bedelia, her sister, who recently weaned her babies, is now at the gate. Let me show you. Now Amelia hasn't shown any signs of heat since she has given birth and has been nursing her babies. But now with her at the gate like this and urinating, and I have seen some tail flagging, I feel like she's starting her heat. And so that's going to be another worry for me to worry about her getting in with these boys, or these boys getting out, because that certainly has happened many times where coming in and out of this gate, bucks are getting out, does are getting in, doelings getting in. I kept Amelia Bedelia's doeling, Miss Elizabeth Bennett, and at this point she is almost 4.5 months old, which means in the next month or 2 she could go into heat for the first time. But she's not big enough to handle a pregnancy. So I wouldn't want her to breed until she's closer to 2 years of age. So we have a long way to go until then, which means a lot of worrying about her crossing paths with one of these bucks, especially when she's related to 3 out of the 4. So I've been, so after the scare this morning, I've been thinking about it. At this farm, these goats, I love coming out here and getting to spend time and enjoy my time with my goats. But I gotta say, with having this many bucks and now having these girls going into heat, the stress level of worrying about them potentially breeding and then having a young baby that they could potentially get pregnant, it's definitely making me very concerned. And with Nigerian dwarf goats, they don't just come into heat just in the fall, where I would just have to worry about rut in the fall and keeping them apart. No, they come into heat every month, year round. So this is not going to be like a short problem in the fall. This is going to be every month I'm going to run into having to watch heat cycles and know when they're in heat and being really cautious about coming in and out of this gate and them not escaping, and then if they do escape, being worried about potential pregnancies. Because as it is, I'm worried about the fact that she could have been bred this morning, and if that's the case, she'd be having babies this February in the dead of winter when we have snow on the ground in Massachusetts, and that is not something that I want. I like babies here to be born in April, May, when spring temperatures are warming up, so it's a more comfortable time weather-wise to have babies on the ground. So I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how I can make this work, or what's going to be the best thing for everyone involved. Do I find a way to try to make a second fence line with a second gate to add an extra layer in between the males and female goats? I think that would help. I honestly don't think that would be enough with how determined goats can be when it comes to breeding. I've thought about relocating the male goats to another part of the property. We do have 1 acre, but the rest of our property is outside of our 8-foot privacy fence. I'm just so afraid that if I move these bucks outside of this 8-foot privacy fence out into the woods that we have out in the back, that they're just going to be susceptible to predators out there. They don't have horns. They're miniature goats. I mean, when it comes to coyotes, to bears, I would just be so worried about them all the time being out there. I wouldn't be able to see them because this fence is 8 feet tall and there's no seeing through it. I'd have to set up cameras. I'd be having to run electrical out there to do electrical fencing because regular fencing's not going to cut it. I just don't think that's going to be the answer for them. So then my other thought was, are they even happy that they're here and they can't breed with the females outside the fence because they're related? I mean, they don't know the difference. And I can see and I can hear and see their frustration with it. With my chickens, I only keep the 2 breeding roosters. Other roosters get rehomed or are processed because of the fighting that occurs between the roosters. I don't have an issue with these 4 bucks fighting with each other, but now that these females are in heat, I'm seeing them start to butt heads with each other. But at this point, I'm certainly considering rehoming each of these bucks so that they have their own herd that's unrelated, that they can have a breeding season with and not have all of this frustration. Honestly, that breaks my heart to even think about rehoming them, but I really am scared that there's going to be issues. So that's Fancy Nancy, who's been at the fence line here, and the boys have been calling to her. Now Rory here, he's a really good looking buck, and I would have loved to have him breed with Fancy Nancy, which is what we've been trying to do through last winter. And unfortunately it was unsuccessful. I could not get him to breed with her. And then Mr. Fitzwilliam Darcy is Amelia Bedelia's baby, and Amelia is Nancy's sister, so he's related. Freddie James here, and his twin brother Calvin James, they are Fancy Nancy's babies, twin boys, and with Amelia being Nancy's sister, she's their auntie, so they can't breed, so it would be inbreeding if they bred with either of those girls. And then they're cousins to Miss Elizabeth Bennet, so they are related to her as well, so I don't want them breeding with her. And she's not old enough anyways. It's just so hard. They're such sweet bucks. And I've raised the 3 related bucks from babies. Rory's the only one I haven't raised from a baby, but he's a sweet boy as well. He likes to suck on my fingers. And he's really gentle about it. He just really seems to enjoy that. Because every day he tries it. So yeah, I am at a loss. I don't know what's going to be the best move for our farm here and for our goats. It seems like most breeding farms keep bucks that are unrelated. And then there's me with 3 related bucks. And then 1 unrelated that the girls are not breeding with. This here is Miss Elizabeth Bennet, and honestly she's my biggest worry as far as having bucks on the property because of the risk to her if she were to get pregnant early. She's just not big enough, old enough to sustain a pregnancy at this point. Right? I know. So I need to make a decision on what I'm going to do with these bucks, how I'm going to keep them from escaping, and should they stay or should they go. Honestly, if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it. This is going to be a really hard decision. Oh my god. Oh, you're such a cutie. Yeah, you're very cute. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a good Friday. And if you haven't started your farm yet, what are you waiting for? Get your farm on.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want a farm? A wicked awesome farm? Watch this channel to learn what to do. We love to farm and we'll show you. Yeah, welcome to our show. Whoa. Just 1